It's on the school to make sure if they are a place of freedom, then they have to defend freedom, whether it's academic freedom or political freedom or whatever it is. So you're not entitled to a platform, but if you've been offered a platform in a public setting, whatever that setting is has to make sure that that talk can go on. I can't say the Americans as a unit think anything of Canadian politics other than we see you guys going through a lot of exactly what we're going through, which is it is a huge fight between should governments just get bigger and bigger and bigger, or should individual people, should we have a bottom-up approach to politics? And I think you probably know which my answer would be. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Is it going to happen? Is he out of office? Or is it just a big tax dollar waste?
I think this is a bad move all around. It's like, let the election's a year away and now we're going to be sidetracked with that without even getting into all the specifics of it. It just doesn't strike me as the way this country should be going. If we want to just make everything about scandal and destroying everybody at all times, then we can go that route and nobody will be better off for it. Let those 12 Democrats that are still in there, I believe it's 12, let them run. Let them run on their ideas, and if their ideas are better than Trump's, then let them beat Trump. But the idea that now we're going to be in the middle of 14 months of an election, basically, and dealing with a pending impeachment is just not. It's not good if we're going to heal any of this stuff.
What Bernier different from other politicians?
How is Maxime different from other politicians? Well, Maxime believes in the individual. He believes in individual rights. That is the most important thing, that you can look someone in the eye and judge them only as what their thoughts and actions are, and not the color of their skin or their ethnicity or sexuality or any of those things. That is the root of what Western society is. And for some reason, we seem to want to give that away right now, or there's at least a certain section of very loud people that want to give that away. I actually think it's a minority of people, but they're overrepresented probably in the media and certainly in academia. And what Maxime represents, from what I can tell, is basically a good blend of libertarian, limited government ideas, and that this is a country, just like America, this is a country of Canadians for Canadians, and you should defend your Western values, whatever you guys as Canadians deem them to be, and that's not racist, homophobic, or anything else. Yeah.
What is the right response to people that try to deplatform debates?
Well, look, no one's entitled to a platform just in and of itself, but I would say, especially in an American context, if a public university platforms somebody, then the university, if an accredited group at a college, let's say, platforms somebody, then the university, it is their responsibility to make sure that that talk can go through. What we see happening often is sort of what happened here tonight, which is that suddenly, Antifa or whatever these groups are make threats, it increases the security costs often, then the event can't go through or people can't attend because of prices or the rest of it. But it's on the school, and because this is usually done at universities, it's on the school to make sure if they are a place of freedom, then they have to defend freedom, whether it's academic freedom or political freedom or whatever it is. So you're not entitled to a platform, but if you've been offered a platform in a public setting, whatever that setting is has to make sure that that talk can go on.
And what is the right response to censorship and the way to handle censorship in social media?
Well, look, this is an incredibly difficult topic that my preference still would be that the market will dictate whether Twitter and Facebook and YouTube have a future or not. I would rather the government not get involved, but I hear a really strong argument from a lot of conservatives who don't like using the power of government to do things, basically saying the power of these companies has become so exceptionally and extraordinarily huge that we have no choice. My belief is that the market can still, I don't think we've run out of room with the market. I'm working on an app myself that I think will help decentralize some of this stuff, and I just believe in the human mind at the end of the day, and maybe there's a little bit of a fault there, but it's a great place to have a discussion. It's a really great discussion for libertarians and conservatives and anyone that believes in freedom to really figure out, is this the moment you want to use government power when you're against government power? And if you do it, well, then what happens when the guys that you don't like are in power in the government? You've just handed them a lot of power. So it's just something that's important to think about. David? Lauren Chen, I'm talking to you. Hello.
Well, we just want to know, how does it feel to walk through a crowd of people calling you a Nazi on Rosh Hashanah?
First time for me. That has never happened before. I mean, look, it's everything, Lauren, that you and I talk about all the time. Like, give me a good argument. Like, I was here a couple hours earlier. I would have gladly walked out there with the protesters. I've done it at events that I've done. I will gladly talk to any of them. But literally, when you get out of a car and someone's right in your face and they're pushing people and they're screaming you're a Nazi and a fascist and the rest of it. And really the irony is nothing you heard here in this hour was even remotely close to that. Like if racism is a 10 on scale, you got a 0 here, because the idea of the individual is what we talked about. That was the root of everything we talked about here. So it's silly and it's sad and it's depressing, I suppose, and it's the last vestige of a really bad ideology. When you've got nothing left, when you've got no good arguments left, then call your opponents all the worst things in the world, because that will silence a certain amount of people. It won't silence me, it won't silence you, and I hope it won't silence a growing amount of people. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say hi before you get out of here. Okay. Yeah. Hi.
Your response tonight sort of goes against the usual American narrative of Canada being a very left-wing socialist society. Does this sort of go against what the Americans think about Canada?
So again, it's hard to say what the Americans think, because we're all over the place, just like you guys are. So I would say, sadly, Americans, we don't think that much about the rest of the world. Everyone thinks about us. We don't have that much time to think about everybody else. But what I can tell you is this: that in the last year and a half, I visited 24 or so countries, and what I found is that even in places like Sweden, that are thought of as the Bernie Sanders sort of socialist utopias, there are plenty of people that care about freedom there. There are plenty of people that don't like identity politics. There are plenty of people that want to fight to keep the government out of their bedroom and out of their wallet and the rest of those things. So no, this doesn't surprise me at all. And actually, if anything, the more that you see the ever-encroaching progressive ideology infect every part of everyone's lives, who they can talk to and what they can talk about and the rest of it, and who they can address a certain way or whatever else, the more that you're going to see events like this and candidates like Maxime come out and be forces for good, because it's a countermeasure to that. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I think if you advocate for talking to people, having open debate.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you were if you're able to actually talk to the people outside, or engage in a debate with them if they were willing to. What would you guys talk about? Do you think you could find common ground?
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to talk to them if they're not in my face and screaming at me and calling me a Nazi and pushing people and with the constant subtext of violence right behind it. I mean, that's what it feels like. It's not fun. Like, trust me, I would prefer to come here or do any event that I do and not have that happen. I mean, it shows you that our societies are in a little bit of a sick place. But considering those people, basically, Antifa are basically all leftists, well, where are the progressives saying, that's no good, guys? They don't. They're actually tacitly endorsing it. But if I could sit down with any of those people and chat with them about it, I would try to do exactly what I did up here, which is really try to get them understand, what are your rights? Where do your rights come from? How special it is to live in a place like Canada or in the United States? Where else do you want to go? And why not, instead of burning the whole thing down, this is the most important one, instead of burning the whole thing down, which is what they seemingly want to do, how about we try to fix this thing together? Because I think that's what most people want. But if your starting position is, I'm working against the Nazi, well, then that's what you're going to get.